This is Adam, and he suffers from gout. Try Ural. It helps to prevent crystallization of uric acid crystals in gout therapy. Ural, effective urinary alkalinizer for gout.
Hello, I'm Camelia and this is KiniNews. The Sultan of Selangor, Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah, has expressed deep regret over the statement made by past President Abdul Hadi Awang. The Selangor ruler described Hadi's statements addressed to religious scholars, judges, lawyers and lawmakers as inappropriate. Selangor ruler Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah has cautioned past President Abdul Hadi Awang against issuing statements that can cause division among Muslims in the country. The ruler said he was very disappointed with Hadi's remark on February 20th for all Muslims to safeguard their faith, including judges, lawyers, politicians and rulers. In a post on the Selangor Royal Office Facebook page today, Sultan Sharafuddin conveyed this sentiment by sending a letter to Abdul Hadi through Selangor Past Commissioner Dr. Abdul Halim Tamuri. Among others, the Sultan noted that Hadi did not read in full and understand the Sultan's speech during the National Council for Islamic Religious Affairs 71st meeting in Putrajaya on February 15th. During the speech, the ruler had called for calm following the federal court's recent decision to strike down 16 provisions of the Kelantan Sharia Criminal Code. Elaborating, Sultan Sharafuddin, in particular, took offence to Hadi's remark which urged the Malay rulers to have a vision and to be wise in viewing the hereafter, not just the interests in this world alone. The ruler said the remark is uncivilized and unsuitable from the culture angle of the Malays who always respect and guard their manners when airing their views and advising the Malay rulers. Hadi's statement is not just confusing, but can also cause unrest, which can ultimately lead to division among the Malays and Muslims in the country, said the Sultan. Sultan Sharafuddin advised Hadi to be more careful in the future and not repeat his acts of insulting the Malay rulers via his statements that can cause division among Muslims in the country. The Sultan also urged all politicians and leaders to not use Islam as a tool for their political gain. Azam Baki has denied that any of the officers in the MACC contacted Wan Saiful over claims he had made in the Dewan Rakyat yesterday. He said this in response to Wan Saiful's claim that he had been contacted by them. The MACC has denied contacting Tasek Gelugor MP Wan Saiful Wanjan over his allegation of being offered a bribe to support Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. When quizzed on the issue today, MACC Chief Azam Baki said the Bersatu lawmaker should file a report over his claims.
Sepatutnya dia datang ke SPRM untuk buat laporan. And I already checked with my officers, thorough check. There's no such officer from MACC called him yesterday. Could be somebody else, I do not know. Tapi as for now, it's better Wan Saiful Wanjan datang ke SPRM untuk buat laporan. Itu sepatutnya kerana di bawah Undang-Undang Seksyen 25 adalah menjadi tanggungjawab in general semua orang apabila ditawarkan rasuah untuk membuat laporan kepada SPRM ataupun mana-mana balai polis terdekat.
He added that the MACC wanted to know more details and assured a fair and transparent investigation into his claims. Yesterday, Wan Saiful claimed in the Dewan Rakyat that he was offered, among others, 1.7 million ringgit in constituency funds if he were to support Anwar as Prime Minister. He then claimed to have been contacted by the MACC just an hour after his speech in Parliament. So far, 6 Bersatu MPs have declared their support for Anwar while not resigning from the party. Bersatu is looking to plug this loophole this weekend by amending the party's constitution. 2 Bersatu MPs who back Anwar have stressed that their support for Anwar will not be retracted at any cost. This comes as the Bersatu leadership looks at amending the party constitution to no longer enable the party's MPs to support the Prime Minister. 2 out of the 6 Bersatu MPs who previously voiced their support for Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim are willing to vacate their seats if the court finds their act to be against the law. Bukit Gantang MP Syed Abu Hussein Hafiz Syed Abu Fasal and Gua Musang MP Muhammad Azizi Abu Naim said this while commenting on Bersatu's move to amend its constitution to act against MPs who have switched their support to Anwar without quitting the party. According to Syed Hussein, the Bersatu leadership is amending the party constitution to no longer enable the party MPs to support the Prime Minister. He said previously in the party's constitution there was no clause that stated that a lawmaker loses his or her position if they support anyone other than Bersatu. He added that they are supporting the Prime Minister and will see what happens after the amendment. Meanwhile, Azizi echoed Syed Hussein's views and stressed that their support for Anwar will not be retracted at any cost. The two, however, said that the stance was reflective of their personal decision and did not represent the other 4 Bersatu MPs who have also backed Anwar. Besides Syed Hussein and Azizi, the other 4 Bersatu MPs who have backed Anwar, citing the well-being of their constituents, are Tanjung Karang MP Zulkifli Peri Hanapi, Jeli MP Zahari Kecek, Kuala Kangsar MP Iskandar Zulkarnain Abdul Khalid, and Labuan MP Suhaili Abdul Rahman. UMNO's youth chief has called for Anwar to consider sacking Tourism Minister Tiong King Sing. This is following several recent issues involving him. UMNO Youth Chief Dr. Akmal Saleh has called for Tourism Minister Tiong King Sing's head to roll. This is following several recent issues involving the minister. In a statement, Akmal said these include for pork-based dish, bakute, being included in the country's list of heritage foods, as well as the demotion of Tourism Malaysia Director General Amar Abdul Ghaffar. He said rather than recognizing bakute as a heritage food, it is better to acknowledge other dishes such as nasi goreng Cina and other types of food that can be consumed by people of all races and religions. In a post on Facebook, Akmal said if the minister cannot think of Malaysians' sensitivity, it's time we urge Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim to just fire the minister. He said if the tourism DG can be demoted for failing to perform, the same reason can be used for a minister who is not only not performing, but is the worst minister in history. Tiong came under the spotlight last week after Amar confirmed that he received a letter notifying him that he is no longer the DG effective February 26. Tiong later clarified that Amar was demoted to Deputy Director General because he could not perform the given task of attracting tourists into the country. The Amar saga was followed by a report that bakute has been gazetted as a heritage food along with burasak and utapam. Bersih had a meeting with Anwar yesterday. According to his chairperson, during the meeting, Anwar agreed in principle to some of the 10 reforms they presented. Bersih met with Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim yesterday as it pushed for the government to enact reforms. The group said Anwar agreed in principle to some of the 10 reforms it presented during the meeting. It said the Prime Minister stated that he agreed in principle to several things. However, there were several reforms that he felt needed further discussion. When contacted, Bersih Chairperson Muhammad Faisal Abdul Aziz said among the items that Anwar agreed to were reforms on election offences, including auditing the financial reports of candidates before nomination. Other reforms agreed to include separating the public prosecutor and attorney general roles, as well as enhancing Parliament through the Parliament Services Act. Bersih said the meeting took over an hour, during which it submitted a 30-page memorandum and a 10-page research paper containing proposals based on feedback gathered during its engagement sessions and its 2018 study on strengthening Malaysia's democratic transition. It added that its biggest concern is that the current government will just run down the clock without implementing reforms in the remaining 4 years of its mandate. Following the meeting, Anwar said the government is open to any recommendation from Bersih, particularly on how to improve the election process and institutional reform. In a post on Facebook, he said some of the recommendations have grabbed my attention and some in the memorandum have already been considered and acted upon by the unity government. He added that the inclusive approach of listening to the views of civil society, such as Bersih, will lead to better synergy between the civil society and the government in the country's democratic process. A former law minister believes that the Bumiputra Economic Congress will not end up benefiting the underclass. According to Zaid Ibrahim, those attending the Congress tomorrow come from the upper class and they will not want to split it with others. Zaid Ibrahim said nothing useful or relevant will emerge from the Bumiputra Economic Congress for the underclass of society. He said this is because policies in Malaysia do not cater for the underclass. According to Zaid, local governments and municipal councils go all out to cancel licenses for numerous reasons. He said earning a living is hard, but they make it harder. Zaid said this in response to an article published in Malaysia Kini which underlined how the Congress could help the underclass. In a Facebook post, Zaid said the main reason for cancelling licenses is the breach of conditions. According to Zaid, when you put so many conditions that you know cannot be fulfilled when you issue them, it is easy to revoke them. He said if the condition is to operate the business themselves for the upper class, the license will not be revoked as the government knows the upper class never uses these licenses to do business themselves. Whereas, he said the underclass who obtain licenses to do business in the Selayar market will be punished for making a few hundred ringgit by renting out their licenses. Zaid said those attending the Congress come from the upper class and are not about to slice the cake, but prefer to grow it. He was referring to second Finance Minister Amir Hamzah Azizan, who said the Congress aims to improve and grow the economic pie for the benefit of the community. The three-day Congress, the 8th since 1965, will start today at the Putrajaya International Convention Centre. And that is all for me today. For more stories, you can go to Kinitv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Kimilia. Thanks for watching.